Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Updates, the channel where facts matter, speculation is filtered, and clarity always comes first. Today, we're breaking down a statement that's raised eyebrows across the dinar community. Iraq is qualified to become a regional financial center with 4 strategic powers. That bold claim came from an advisor to the Iraqi Prime Minister. On the surface, it might sound like the usual political optimism, but dig a little deeper, and you'll see that this isn't just lip service. This is a signal. A calculated message. And if you read between the lines, it could be a quiet confirmation that Iraq is preparing for a major economic shift, possibly including a currency reintroduction or exchange rate adjustment. Let's begin with the claim itself. Iraq is qualified to become a regional financial center. The word qualified is key here. This isn't an announcement that it is a hubu, it's a statement that Iraq has the ingredients, the infrastructure, and the momentum to become one. In other words, it's not the yet, but it's getting ready. What are those 4 strategic powers the advisor mentioned? First, Iraq's natural wealth. It holds over 145 billion barrels in proved oil reserves, making it one of the top 5 oil-rich nations on the planet. Oil accounts for the overwhelming majority of government revenues. Even with fluctuating prices, the sheer scale of those reserves provides an economic cushion that most countries don't have. That kind of energy wealth, when properly managed, gives Iraq the raw capital it needs to back any financial transformation, including currency reform or revaluation. Second, geography. Iraq sits in the heart of the Middle East, connecting Turkey to the Gulf, Iran to Syria and Jordan. It's a critical bridge here, not just politically but economically. It could become a regional transport corridor, a financial conduit, and yes, a currency exchange hub. Countries like the UAE and Qatar have leveraged location into financial power. Iraq is now looking at that same model. Third, currency control. Despite international pressure and years of economic instability, Iraq has maintained full sovereignty over its monetary policy. The central bank hasn't floated the dinar, nor has it given up the right to independently adjust the exchange rate. That's a big deal. It means Iraq still has the option to introduce a stronger exchange rate or an entirely new mechanism on its own terms. They haven't done it yet. But they can. And this latest statement suggests they're building the narrative to justify doing so. Fourth, reform momentum. This is the part many casual observers miss. Behind the scenes, Iraq has been slowly but steadily overhauling its financial system. Digital banking is expanding. Currency smuggling crackdowns are increasing. Anti-money laundering standards are being enforced. Iraq is also in talks with international financial institutions to modernize its banking and trade platforms. These aren't glamorous headlines, but they're essential groundwork. You don't build a currency hub overnight, you build it brick by brick, reform by reform. And that brings us to the real subtext of the advisor's statement. At its core, it's a message to investors, institutions, and internal actors. Iraq is no longer playing defense. It's getting ready to go on offense. The phrase regional financial center is not just a vision, it's a positioning move. It's Iraq saying, we're ready to stop being seen as a fragile economy and start being treated like a powerhouse. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The dinar still trades around 1,310 to the dollar. Inflation is moderate. And investor confidence, while improving, remains cautious. So how do you reconcile that with this bold talk about becoming a currency hub? Here's the truth. The exchange rate of 1,310 doesn't reflect Iraq's true economic potential. It reflects policy caution. Stability over speculation. But when an official starts saying, publicly, that Iraq is qualified to lead financially in the region, that's a shift in tone. A very deliberate shift. And if you're paying attention, that shift suggests something deeper. A quiet reveal. Iraq is saying, we've stabilized. We're liquid. We're rich. and now we can start to act like it. For years, many in the dinar community have believed that Iraq is sitting on a suppressed exchange rate, waiting for the right conditions to correct it. That belief was often dismissed as wishful thinking. But now, Iraq's own officials are starting to speak the language of rebranding, of repositioning, of readiness. Does this mean an overnight RV number? Responsible monetary policy doesn't work like that. But it does mean that the ground is shifting. And anyone following this space would be wise to keep their ears open and their expectations grounded. Let's remember something important. Iraq doesn't need to go to 1-to-1 with the US dollar to transform the dinar. Even a move to 800 or 500 to the dollar backed by oil revenues, international partnerships, and financial stability would be a game changer. That kind of appreciation, if it comes gradually and transparently, would build long-term trust in the currency and in Iraq's economy overall. So when we hear the Prime Minister's advisor talk like these confidently, publicly, and with authority, it's not just political noise. It's a message. Maybe even a warning. Iraq is getting ready to rewrite the rules. They're not just talking about wealth anymore. They're talking about leverage, position, influence. And they're telling the world, we've got it. So what should you, the viewer, take from all of this? First, don't fall for hype. Not every bold statement equals an immediate revaluation. But second, don't ignore these signals either. This is how change starts, not with a press release, but with a quiet shift in messaging. A new tone. A new framework. Iraq is repositioning itself. Whether that leads to a stronger dinar this year, next year, or 5 years from now depends on countless factors. But the direction of travel is clear. And for those of us watching closely, that's more than enough reason to stay informed. Thanks for watching this in-depth report from Iraqi Dinar Updates. If this gave you insight into Iraq's economic trajectory, give us a like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. We'll continue bringing you truth, not hype, clarity, not confusion. Until next time, keep your eyes on the data, and listen to what's really being said.